Good afternoon. I'm John Labman, and welcome to Simply Awake. Today's video is going to be about your thinking again, and I've already delineated a model that I call the three-ring circus of your mind. The first ring or circle is all about yourself, all the thoughts that you have about yourself. The second is all the thoughts you have about others. And the third one that we're going to highlight today is all of your thoughts about the future. Now, in terms of future thoughts, most of us typically go right to catastrophic thoughts about the future. Oh my goodness, global warming is going to kill us all in my lifetime, would be one example of those kinds of thoughts. The trouble with all of your thoughts about the future, even something as simple as, oh my God, my spouse is going to forget to put the trash out tonight. Isn't that horrible? Such a thought isn't accurate. Other than basic thoughts like, yeah, the Earth is probably going to continue turning on its axis and the moon will revolve around the Earth, and therefore it will appear that the sun rises tomorrow, we can't really know anything at all about the future. So all of our thoughts about the future are lies. Categorically, they're false. Yes, we make plans. Yes, we make assumptions about what's going to happen in the future. But if you look or envision a picture of the future, for instance, if you're going to go on vacation and you have an idea about how the vacation is going to be, once you get to the vacation, you will see that your idea of the vacation and the experience of the vacation are two different things entirely. So your thoughts about the vacation are false. Yes, you may actually plan and go on a vacation, but your thoughts about how the vacation is going to turn out are false. And typically, our thoughts about the future give us a lot of trouble. So you might say, so what? Well, and I would say, well, what kind of trouble do you think they give us? Mostly it's anxiety. It can also be despair. It can also be hopelessness. It can also be fear or terror or dread. So do you really want to be having false thoughts about the future that produce that kind of negative feeling? And okay, you say, well, I can't stop them from happening. True, but you can stop yourself from believing them. So if you have the thought that it's going to snow tomorrow and ruin my plans, you better look at your assumptions. First of all, is it really going to snow tomorrow? In my weather forecast, it says it's going to be sunny tomorrow. So that part of the thought is false. And if that's false, will the weather ruin my plans? Well, unknown. Maybe there's freezing rain instead, in which case my plans would get ruined because I can't skate my car to the restaurant I want to go to tomorrow night for dinner. But, okay, maybe nothing happens in the weather, and as the forecast says, it's just going to be dry and cold. Is that going to interfere with your plans for tomorrow night? No. But you'll notice that your mind, in the category of thoughts about the future, is usually creating some sort of anxiety-provoking or depression-provoking false thought. Because we're not omniscient. We don't have the power to know everything in the universe and how it's all going to turn out. Nobody gave us a crystal ball or an uncanny knack of predicting the future entirely correctly. But when we try to predict the future, or we believe the thoughts that are generated in our mind automatically, we're often going to have negative consequences in our emotions. And so this is a very important part of how we begin to deal with our human condition. We have to begin to challenge our false thoughts about the future, because they can stop us from taking action that we want to take because of some fear that literally is just a false assumption about the future. For instance, if you want to go to college or to trade school, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, I did so badly in high school, how it's impossible for me to do well in college. That predictive thought about your future career in college or in trade school will keep you from going to college or trade school. That will prevent an entire course of action in your life that might produce really positive and wonderful benefits, like you actually get a career that pays you enough money to live decently in the current era. So you want to be really careful to start to notice, what are my thoughts about the future? And if they're false, and those false thoughts are producing lots of negative emotions, the emotions are going to be useless. You can't take any action based on negative emotions if they're based on a falsehood. So you can let any negative emotion that's based on a false thought about the future, you can just let it dissolve. Just don't pay attention to it. And the thought, even if it recurs 50 times, that, oh my gosh, the weather's going to ruin my dinner plans tomorrow. Okay, that thought might arise 50 times. The first time it arises and you notice and you call it out as a lie, you got it. It might still arise another 49 times, and every time it arises, you just say, there's that lie again, and you ignore it. You just let it go, zinging by through your awareness. So in terms of reducing the stress and suffering and anxiety and depression and hopelessness and despair in your life, there's nothing better than busting those false thoughts about the future. So there's the simple lesson for today. You can find all of this in my book, Being Human and Waking Up, which is available on Amazon.com in both paperback workshop format, or rather workbook format, and also in Kindle format. That's it for today. Trying to keep these brief to keep your attention. I know your attention is called in many different directions these days. So I will sign off from Hollycong, Pennsylvania in the eastern United States at about 32 p.m. in the afternoon, and tell you have a wonderful weekend, and sending you lots of love and wishes for your own liberation. Bye for now.